So we just got finished watching episode 2, which the second part of the two-parter. It is a little bit more eventful.
Yeah, so there was a lot more action in this one. We got a lot more fight scenes. We got a lot more examples of exactly what's going to happen now.
In Beetle Rock Part 1, they establish the main characters, establish the bullies. The main characters go to Hillhurst Mansion.
I don't know if I noticed it last time, but Flabber this time is just exactly like it's trying to copy the genie from Aladdin. Yeah. Although this Flabber does seem to be a lot more depressed.
Yeah, he was having some mood swings in this episode. He opens up.
It's not all there.
No. They hand him a comic book and they say, hey, we want to be the Big Bad Beetle Borgs. And he's like, is that a new rock band?
Yeah.
Oh, is that a
Glorious
band
line.
name?
Yeah. Decent line.
Uh-huh.
Good joke. Looks at the comic book cover and there's 3 rats on the comic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the blurb on the comic book is, next issue, rats. Why?
It's to keep you coming back for the next issue, Cameron.
That's not a good segue.
They gotta rope you in somehow. I don't know about you, but if I looked at like a Spider-Man comic or something, and it was like next issue, Spider-Man fights 150 rats.
But it didn't say fights 100. It just said rats. They correct Flabber and they say, oh, no, Beetleborgs, because what idiot looks at the cover of Beetleborgs and goes, this must be about the rats?
I'll tell you who. Somebody who's really bad at his job, which is something that I'm beginning to think why he's depressed.
It might be the reason he was locked in a pipe
Yeah.
organ for God only knows how long.
So yeah, then they get turned into the Beetleborgs.
Yeah,
he gets corrected, and it's a really cool
fixes
transformation.
It is. It starts off in the comic book.
Yeah.
And they show like comic book illustrations of the 3 kids. They, in comic book like graphic style, get the armor. It morphs over them, and then the like 3D real world armor, like Iron Man, transforms over the sketch.
It's like they're doing like an electroplating of reality onto them.
Yeah, which is, I dig it. Like, that's
it looks
it's not
really
bad.
cool. They obviously spent like all of the special effects on the transformation.
So we see they finally get turned into the Big Bad Beetle Borgs. The monsters are running around.
Yeah, because they're still chasing after him from the last part.
They're still chasing him, yeah. That's only like, between the 2 episodes, it's like literally 5 seconds.
Yeah.
No time has passed. The monsters go in and immediately attack the kids, even though they're, bedazzled in multicolored armor with fairly large weapons
How
on
are they
them.
supposed to know that these are the kids? Because they're also like full-grown adults now.
Their voices? Their voices didn't change.
They didn't
like Batman
that's
modulate.
you can't see their faces. They're in armor. You can't see any of them. They're in full body armor suits.
I mean,
and they came in and went, it's them.
So yeah, whenever they morph into the Big Bad Beetle Borgs, they get their hero names, which we didn't get the first episode. Drew is the Blue Stinger Borg, and he has I think they call it a Beetle Stinger or something. It's a big freaking sword. It's huge. It's like 3 feet long.
It's like the Assassin's Creed
wrist.
thing, but it's on the other side of his wrist.
Yeah.
It's on the outside.
Oh yeah,
it's like an X-Men claw, but one big blade.
Yeah.
Except it's about as big as like Cloud's sword from Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So it's a Zweihander.
They all have this like really big beetle on their. It looks a little bit like their Beetle Bonder. That's their morpher thing. And which we'll get to in a minute. It's right after this.
That's great.
They have this huge beetle on their wrists, and each of them have a different weapon that's unique to them. Roland is the Green Hunter Borg. He's the stag beetle, so he's got these big like stag beetle pincers.
They're tasers.
Yeah, they're tasers.
They're stun guns.
Yeah, well, and I think all of them kind of have that electric theme, because doesn't the Stinger have an electric shock to it?
Yeah.
Because then when they transform, it's all electricity.
Yeah, it's all the electricity. There was the electricity, I think, that Flabber was doing in the first episode as well, because we were making jokes about Palpatine.
Unlimited power.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of an overall arching theme that's just kind of how the... I don't know, what is it? Is it supposed to be just kind of like the rip between the world of the comic and the real world? Yeah.
It's everything that's been kind of associated with the comic power has been kind of electricity.
And she has it just looks like a gun. It's
they just
the
gave
same
her a
wrist
Glock.
thing. Yeah, well, it's the same wrist thing, and then it's like, it doesn't quite look like a beetle thing. Like, it doesn't look like a mandible or anything like the stag beetle and the blue one. Yeah, it does make sense that, like, Hunterborg kind of looks like a bruiser.
Mm-hmm.
Or a tank.
Which is funny because she's the smallest one.
Yeah.
Well, Hunterborg's, that's the green one.
Well, hey. I mean,
okay.
The green one feels like a tank because he's the stag beetle, and then the blue,
he's got the range.
The
just
blue's
their
like
D&D
the melee
party.
fighter. He's got the sword. As soon as we see them fight off the monsters, they do all their electric attacks on them, and the monsters run away because they're cowards.
Yeah, they got their butts handed to them.
For some reason, Roland thought it was a good idea to go up to Frankenstein and electrocute exactly hit the bolts on his head.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the mummy did in the first episode to juice him up.
Uh-huh.
So it can't be that smart of a decision. Anyway, they don't address
I didn't know that.
Immediately after that, they realize that the villains of the comic book have also come out of the comic book because Flabber is sitting bawling his eyes out in his little throne chair thing by the pipe organ, going,
Really
"I made
hard
a
on
boo
himself.
boo." So the three villains, these are the three villains, the main three. They have weird accents.
Yeah, they got weird accents.
There's Ivanka from Rocky and
Yeah,
Bullwinkle.
you got the Russian chick who she just has like a mask.
Yeah,
she
has real hair.
And you got Shark Boy minus the lava girl.
Yeah, shark whale man,
Friggin-
and he has like a whale head that the mouth opens up maniacally, which is horrifying.
Doesn't the mouth open up above his eyes?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
it's
It's
on
really
top
weird.
Of his
It's
head.
Yeah.
on top of his head.
Well, and what was the whale guy's accent? He was
He was Fat Albert.
Yeah, it was Fat Albert.
I'm the whale villain.
That's literally what it says.
Oh my god, other villain! How are we gonna get the Beetleborgs?
Nick, what was it that you called the other guy?
Huh? It was Pipe Marley.
Yeah. He's like a steampunk.
Steampunk. That's PVC.
Yeah, sorry. There's not a like plumbing pump.
See, that's
He
why we
looks-
need viewers. You need to see the looks we're giving Cameron.
He looks like he covered himself in rubber cement and rolled through a Home Depot and came out on the other end.
So yeah, his name I think is like Noxus. I think and that's the only one.
Noxic.
Noxic.
Yeah.
that's what it is.
I wrote that down.
Russian lady points at the comic books and goes, "Let's have some fun."
Yeah.
She brings out
Yeah,
these drones, these big fighter pilot looking things, or fighter jet looking things with big like stingers on them, and the stingers shoot off in a very plastic toy manner
Yep.
and blow up buildings. This is the only Japanese footage we get the whole episode. Which I mean, if you're gonna use it, use this footage because
Yeah, it saves
why
you
not?
a lot of money.
So
Yeah,
the,
they activate the drones out of the comic, and then they start going around town. And the way that they're scaring people, because it's just this gang walking down the street, and everyone's running because the whale guy throws a trash can.
yeah, and then they throw a guy on a bike into a cake
Yeah,
store,
like,
and he comes out covered in cake. Like they're not killing
and
anyone.
he
legitimately
looks
just
kind of happy about it.
Hooliganism. Like they literally they walk out and turn into the little rascals.
Right. Makes you wonder, like, is their motive just... You have to assume that the Beetleborgs comic is, like, they're out to do something. They're trying to, like, take
There's
over the
some
world
goal,
or
yeah.
something. But
No,
it seems...
they're just-
Well, yeah, because out in the
being
real world,
dicks.
they're just like, oh, yeah, we're going to be, like, a villain in an Archie comic. Not Riverdale, Archie.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Threw
Yeah.
that trash can. Like that's what.
Hey, kid, you want a cigarette?
Yeah. They go into a movie theater and just go and sit down. They take this guy's popcorn, just start eating out of it,
Well,
and start
they don't
spoiling.
They don't start eating out of it. They start
Yeah.
throwing it at their faces. The whale guy is
yeah.
the only
Right.
one with an opening mouth.
No, the other person, it's the only person without an opening mouth is the chick with the plasticine face.
And she did acknowledge
Because the
that
other
as
one
well.
just, it has
Oh,
like a
because
weird
there's
mouth part.
Yeah, it has
It's-
like a marionette mouth.
yeah.
They're watching the 1920s Nosferatu, and everyone in that theater is screaming like the Paranormal Activity commercials made you think it was going to be like. They're watching him come out of the coffin, and everyone's.
It's public domain.
Oh no! I knew exactly. The moment it came on, I went, and it was because it was free.
Because they don't have to pay anybody for the rights to it.
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I'd see Nosferatu on the big screen though.
It would have been
Or
great
in
if they
Spain
had
like that,
messed
but-
it up and they got like "It's a Wonderful Life" and had everyone screaming in the theater.
My mouth is 2D, but my fucking face is in 3D.
Yeah. She acknowledges that the rest of her came into 3-dimension, but her mouth stayed 2-dimensional.
Yeah, which I guess we're supposed to assume that in the comics, that's her like fully fleshed out face.
It's her actual face, but in reality, it's a mask.
Which it looks like there's a clear separation between like mask and head.
Yeah, well,
Oh, absolutely!
She has
It's
like a wig.
It's like
real
simulated
hair.
away. Like you can actually see
scene.
like her neck. You can see the actress's neck go
Oh.
up.
The guy sitting directly next to the Russian chick doesn't care that she's there. He sees her playing. He looks her dead in the eye. He has a Hitler stash.
He seems a little flirtatious even. He's like, hey, how are you doing?
She
like,
takes
maybe
his
friendly at least.
She takes his popcorn and he like gives her a nod and a wink.
He hits her with the, hey girl.
Yeah. And she's like, rah! Like freaks him out and he like doesn't run away, but he stands up like,
he's like, I don't have to deal with this.
Why? Never.
We move out of the movie theater. They rendezvous at a graveyard.
Yeah, well, before that, we cut back to the kids listening to Flabber being all depressed.
To explaining that he accidentally let them out as well. Basically.
Yeah, because he's all like, because he really sucks at his powers.
I mean, he's got bipolar, you know? It's a very progressive 90s show. They're just trying to bring awareness to mental illness.
Yeah, he did a boo-boo, and the kids have to comfort this very old genie dude.
Yeah, presumably grown genie. And he breaks down and is like, we released the villains. I made a boo-boo. And he goes, you're going to have to keep being Beetleborgs until we can get these guys back in.
Sorry, guys. I've just laid all this responsibility on these children whom I've just given weapons to.
12-year-olds with electric force power capabilities. Yeah. And they're totally cool with it. They're like, hell yeah, dude, let's keep going.
They're like, how do we do that? He's like, just whistle. And they look at him like he's an idiot because that's a stupid thing to say when they ask, how do you transform into a superhero?
It's not like there are a million ways you could whistle. No. I mean, for all you know, you could do the green dragon flute theme.
I was going to say, they could have like called out like, blue stag beetle. Like, I don't know. That would have been okay.
Like a very specific thing. Instead, he just made it to where they can never, in their normal lives, ever whistle again.
And he treats him like an idiot for questioning him. He's like, what?
It wasn't.
You just pucker up and blow.
Yeah, that's exactly what he says. And it wasn't like a specific tune, was it? I didn't.
No, she literally just went.
And so when they do that, they whistle. And suddenly, the beetle bonder, which is like a little stag beetle, and
it's their PDA.
Yeah, it looks like a PDA.
It's their morpher.
It's their morpher.
It's the morpher. It's exactly what it is.
It looks like a little beetle. Like
cute little guy.
Yeah, and it's got like the little wings over it. And then on the top, it has whatever beetle their Beetleborg is based off of. It has like the stag beetle mandibles. And they say, Beetle Blast. And that's how they transform now. And then we get, again, the cool transformation sequence with the comics to the real world. And the theme song plays like for now the third or fourth time.
Big Bad Beetle Borgs.
We're not stressing this enough. In the same episode, this theme song has played like 5 or 6
Yeah, we need to start a counter. Like, hi, welcome to Big Bad Beetle Bros, and here's how many times they sing the theme song. The 3 bad guys from earlier go up to this casket, this stone sarcophagus thing, and it opens up, and all of a sudden there's this guy from the comic book world that we're supposed to assume is like the major villain from the series.
Yeah, and I guess he also got like shot out and just went to a different place and established a base. I don't know.
Yeah, because they go into the coffin and they're into like the French catacombs.
Yeah, there's skulls on the walls.
Which it's like, okay, so how much of the comic book world is brought into the real world? Because it's obviously
how bad did Flabber fuck up?
Yeah, you're starting to think that Flabber might not be up to snuff here.
Yeah, how big of a goof was
he? Might be a little less than competent.
So
couldn't do it.
The big bad is Vexor. The 3 guys call him Vex, and I feel like
hey, he's a buddy old Vex.
That's a weird thing to call your nefarious boss.
I'm wondering.
To give him a pet name. They reveal their master plan, but all their plan is to go get the Beetleborgs.
Yeah,
There's no.
That's it.
We need to take over the city or destroy the world or anything. It's just the overarching nefarious plot to stop is the destruction of the Beetleborgs.
Murder these 3 kids.
It's like Vexor sends them to go get the Beetleborgs.
Right, they track them down.
Yeah, somehow they just know where they are.
Deus Ex Machina.
The kids pop out, and this is the fight scene. This is what we've been waiting 2 episodes now. And they burst in the front door and just start taunting the kids. And the kids come out already transformed. And we get our fight scene, including in their triumphant return, the biff bang pow giant onomatopoeia sound effects.
60s Batman.
Exactly.
Adam West himself was sitting off camera like, yes.
It's an excuse to not show physical violence, which at this time I feel like a lot of PG kid shows are riding on.
Well, and Power Rangers at that time was getting in a lot of trouble for being so violent.
Which is so funny to me.
Yeah. in the middle of the fight, all the word bubbles are popping up. Blue Stinger flings from a chandelier and kicks one of the villains. I think he might even kick him out the door. They kick the monsters out. The monsters run out screaming to Vexor. They're like, like the Beetleborgs are stronger than they were in the comics, which leaves us to believe that the comic versions of the Beetleborgs are even more incompetent than these 12-year-olds, which is obnoxious. They cut back and they don't show them like Beetleborging or anything like that.
It just cuts in their kids again.
I guess it's the next day, because they say all three of them go, I guess we were dreaming.
We all had the same very, very vivid dream.
Very specific.
I electrocuted Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Must have been a dream.
And they're like, oh well, hell of a dream. And they look, and a cat jumps out, jumps onto the
Salem.
keys.
Exactly. Yeah, I was like,
and looks, and they're like,
Salem's in
oh, it's just a cat. Flabber morphs, much like the kids did into rats, from a cat into Flabber. So Drew turns around to leave and bumps into the lamp. The lamp falls and he reaches out to grab it from like 3 feet away, but it's a reflex.
Right, yeah. I that was one of the parts where I'm like, I would have done the exact same thing, and it would have been really cool if this happened.
Yeah,
Go
and
on.
he force grabs it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it stops midair. I don't know if he realized what he was doing or what, but it gravitates back into him. Kudos on not putting an electric or weird effect in on this. It is just an object on screen.
Yeah, if you had put like that electrical magnetism thing, it would have not played out right.
Joe immediately turns around because she's a little sister and goes, you always get the good stuff, and kicks a chair. She kicks something, a piece of furniture, and it flies across the room.
Yeah.
Doesn't destroy anything, but it
somehow does not break a single thing in this crowded
But it
mansion.
flies across the room, so we know she's super strong.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm super strong, and Roland has the same reaction of like, wonder what I got, and
he tries to get over to something. He just moves.
He catches the chair. Is that
that's it. He catches the chair and he's like,
got the
I got super speed.
And it's not
FBI,
a great
open
effect. It is very much just the film sped up of him walking across the room.
Him walking across the room.
It's almost Uncanny Valley-ish.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I liked the civilian powers, like the unmorphed powers. That's the thing that Power Rangers wouldn't do for quite a few more years. I like it. I don't like how they do it, but I like the idea of it.
Right.
But the powers don't stick when they are Beetleborgs. Like Joe is not
super strong.
She
just has the power of her Beetleborg.
Yeah, all the Beetleborgs are super strong, and they're also presumably faster. But like Drew doesn't.
Well,
have
that's kind of because that makes you think.
Well, at least from what we've seen so far,
because that makes you think that Joe only has the. She wasn't the super strength, was she?
She was the super strength.
Okay,
she kicked a chair across the room because her brother got telekinesis.
Because she doesn't just have the super strength. Like they all have. The Beetleborgs have their own speciality. The blue one has the telekinesis, right?
But not as Beetleborgs. In the final fight.
Yeah.
We don't see the morphed Beetleborgs using their specific powers.
Right, yeah, because they all have that, but then they're always like, I have a sword, I have a gun, I have a... Pincher.
Then it cuts to the comic shop. Roland's dad is up on a ladder.
Not painting the sign.
He's got a bucket of soapy water. Nano's outside. Our titular bullies, the two little blonde dorky kids. I don't know what's playing. Some kind of weird hip-hop.
Yeah, it's... You know, the generic... You're inclined to believe that they're cool kids' music.
Yeah.
Which the driver has cotton in his ears.
So he doesn't have to
hear an absurd amount.
Yeah, it's sticking like 2 or 3 inches out of his head. Heather, he immediately looks at her and is like, hey, you want to go...
I think it's meant to imply that they're harassing her because they're dicks.
But yeah, I mean, even
that really is it.
Like that kind of like hitting on harassment, like I feel like that's a little weird for kids shit. The bullies pull up, walk over to the 3 kids and go, hey, like, why'd you know, like, so
you guys bailed.
Yeah, why'd you bail on the
they played like they stayed the whole night, and the kids who received the demigod powers chickened out.
And they start doing this weird handshake, like secret handshake, while bragging about beating.
Takes 20 minutes to do.
Yeah, the last thing that happens is these kids are doing this douchey little handshake chant, and Drew looks up at the bucket filled with soapy water, and then dunks right on to the bullies. And soaks
not before it fakes you out with a fake cliffhanger.
Yeah, a fake freeze frame.
It dumps, it freezes, with just looking at them before the water hits them. It freezes. It starts the credits, and you're like, "Wow, what a cliffhanger!" And then it plays the theme song, and then it shows them get hit.